Hey boys and girls, I'm going to go over your math assignment for 0202. You're going to go into your math course and you are going to open up the folder for Module 2, and we are looking at lesson 0202 titled Decimal Jumping. You're going to start by opening up that lesson. Boys and girls, I will tell you, my kiddos in the past had struggled with this assignment. But the biggest thing that I noticed last year was that the students that struggled were the ones that didn't go through this lesson carefully. I will tell you, this lesson has many, many, many examples of how to do your worksheet assignment. It gives you examples of how to use the models that are provided on your worksheet to add and subtract decimals. You'll see what I mean by that when we open up the worksheet assignment, but I'm going to tell you it is very important to go through every page of this lesson and to go through and read and look at the examples it provides. So there is interactive activities, things for you to listen to. There are examples that step by step show you what to do when you're using your models to solve addition and subtraction of decimals. It shows you exactly step by step what to do, and it walks you through every step. So it's important to go through this lesson. Here's another example, and step by step, it tells you what to do and it shows you how to complete these types of addition and subtraction problems using models. On your worksheet assignment, you're going to have to use the models to show your work. There's even a second example. So there are multiple examples throughout. Now it gets into adding and subtracting decimals in the hundredths spot. 27 hundredths plus 36 hundredths. It shows you how to do that. You'll notice on your worksheet, it provides the models for you. And we're going to go over a couple examples together. But please be sure you go through this lesson because it shows you, and you can see right here on this video, it shows you how to complete the problems on your worksheet. So it's going to be up to you to go through this lesson carefully to learn how to use these models. Now we're looking at subtracting decimals. You've got your 8/10. Each of these is a tenth. 8 are shaded. You cross out 5. And you're going to have to do some reading here because it explains how you do the subtraction of decimals using the models. It explains it all here for you. So at the end of the lesson, you come to your assignment. On page 8, what is my assignment? Your assignment is called Decimal Jumping, and it's a 2-page worksheet. So I'm going to go ahead and look at this assignment with you, and we'll do a few of them together, okay, as a model, and then you'll do the rest for your assignment. So I am going to use the pen here. Let me hide this. And we're going to work on some of these problems together. So let's start by looking at number 1. Number 1 is, actually, you know what? Let's do number 2. Number 2 is 1 4/10 plus 1/10. So we're going to start by shading in this first number. This first number is 1 4/10. The number before the decimal is a whole number. We have one whole. So we're going to shade in this box because this whole box represents one whole. There are 10 tenths inside this whole box, which means that 10 tenths equals one whole. And our number here, 1 1/4, that 1 before the decimal means we're working with one whole. So I'm going to shade in one whole. And it'll be easier if you have this printed so that you can shade in using a crayon or a color pencil. Okay, so there's one hole shaded in. And I also have the 4/10. So I have my one hole, and then I need my 4/10. So each of these long sticks represents a tenth. So we need 4 of them. 1/10, 2/10, 3/10, 4/10. So in red, what is shaded represents 1 and 4/10. Now we're going to add 1/10. One long stick is equal to 1/10. This is telling me I need to shade in one of those tenths. So there's my 1/10 that represents in blue. Now we add them together, and we've got one whole and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5/10. So I'll write it underneath. It's a little hard to see. One whole and 5/10. So 1 and 4/10 plus 1/10 is 1 and 5/10. All we do is we add the 2 together. So there's number 2 for you. Let's look at 1. I'm going to go ahead and erase that because it's going to move. Let's take a look at number 5. Number 5 is a little bit trickier because we've got 3 numbers, and not only do we have 3 numbers, we're looking at adding hundredths plus hundredths plus hundredths. 23 hundredths plus 41 hundredths plus 59 hundredths. So let's go back and get a color here. We're going to start by labeling each number with a different color. So I'm going to start with 23 hundredths. Every little box here, all these tiny squares represent 1/100th. In one entire big box, there are 100 small squares, or we would say 100 hundredths. We need to color in 23 hundredths, which means we need to color in 23 of these small squares. I know in one column going up and down there is 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We need 23. So I'm going to color in another column because I know the column is 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There are 20 shaded. We need 23. So I'm going to go to the next column and shade in 3. 1, 2, 3. So in red, we've represented 23 hundredths. Now I'm going to choose another color, and we're going to do 41 hundredths. So I'm going to shade in 41 of these small squares. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I know that this column right here is 10. So I've got 7 green squares that finish this column. And then I'm going to do 10 here. So 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. I'm sorry. So that was 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. We need 41. 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. We still need more. We need 41, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37. We need more. We need to get to 41, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41. So now I've got 41 green squares, which represents 41 hundredths. And now we're going to add our 59 hundredths. So I've got 4 here. So I need to start my 59. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I know one column is 10. So I've got 6. So if I do 10 here, that's 16. Another 10 is 26. Another 10 is 36. Again, I've got my 6 hundredths here, and I need 59. I know each column is 10, so all I'm doing is adding 6 plus 10 plus 10 plus 10. That gives me 36, but now my big square is shaded in all the way. That's okay. We move to our next square. So I had 6 purple squares in this column, and then I had 10, 10, and 10. That's 36. Another 10 is 46. Another 10 is 56. I need 59, and I'm at 56, 57, 58, 59. All right, now we have all 3 decimals represented by different colors shaded. Now we have to add it all together. Well, when we had 23 hundredths in red, 41 hundredths in green, and part of 59 hundredths in purple, we filled a whole box, which means we have 1 whole. Left over, we have some in this other big box. All these small squares represent hundredths. How many do we have total? Well, I've got 10 in this row, 10 in this row. So that's 20, 21, 22, 23. 23 hundredths. How do I write that as a decimal? Decimal to 3. So 23 hundredths plus 41 hundredths plus 59 hundredths is 1 and 23 hundredths. That's a lot of steps for solving a 3-number addition problem. But in order to get full credit, you have to show your work here. It's important to understand the models behind adding decimals. So that is adding decimals, boys and girls. The first page is all adding decimals. I'm going to repeat that again. The first page is all adding decimals. The second page is subtracting decimals. Please, please, please do not let yourself get confused and add these numbers. You will get it wrong and you'll have to redo the assignment. You must notice the symbols. Page 1 is all addition, page 2 is subtraction. So let's look at a couple of these. I've already done 2 for you, so that leaves you 3 problems to add on page 1. We're going to do 2 problems here, so that leaves you 3 problems to do for the subtraction. So let's do these top 2, because we're looking at tenths here and then we're getting into hundredths, and that's what these are at the bottom. So we're going to start with our first number, which is 5/10. We're going to shade in 5/10. Let's use a lighter color. We'll use orange. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So in orange, we have 5/10. Now, like I said, we are subtracting. And when we subtract, we take away. So I'm going to take these 5/10 and I'm going to take away 3 of them. And you can do that by putting an X or if you want to just cross out at the bottom, that's up to you. I'm going to try doing it. It's hard on the computer with a marker, and I'm using my mouse pad, so it's a little bit trickier. I'm going to try to cross them out here at the bottom. So there's 1/10 taken away, 2/10 taken away, and 3/10 taken away. How many do I have left over? 1, 2. There are 2/10 left over. These right here were taken away. These 3/10 were taken away, and we have 2/10 left over. So 5/10 minus 3/10 is 2/10. So it's important when you're doing the subtraction, instead of looking at it all together, we're taking it away. All right, let's take a look at number 7. Number 7, we are dealing with hundredths again. So let's start with our first number. We're going to start by shading in our first number. Now, what's good about the subtraction is it's not a lot of shading, it's more crossing out. You always shade in your first number. So let's shade in this first number, which is 1 59/100. Well, the 1 whole before the decimal means that it is 1 whole square together. So this 1 represents 1 whole, which means 1 whole big box. So I'm going to shade in the big box. That represents 1 whole. Okay. And then we've got 59/100. Okay. Well, remember, those tiny boxes all represent 1/100. We have 59 of them. So we need to shade in 59 of these small boxes. There are 10 boxes in each column, so we can start by just adding in or shading in one column at a time. There's 10. We need 59. There's 10 hundredths, 20 hundredths. We need 59 hundredths, 30 hundredths. We still need more. We need 59 hundredths. 40, 4 columns is 40 hundredths. We need one more whole column. Okay, that's 50 hundredths, and then we need 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All right, 1 59 hundredths is now represented in orange. 1 whole is shaded in. 5 columns or 50 small squares plus the 9 is 59 hundredths. Represented in orange. Now we take our second number and we start taking away. We need to take away 47 hundredths. So I'm going to start by kind of coloring over or crossing out 47 of these squares. So we know this column right here is 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. This one would be, since there's 10, we're taking away, there's 29, 39. If I do a whole nother column, it's going to be 49. That's too much. So we're at 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48. Oh, I need 47, so I need to erase that 1. Well, what we'll do is we'll leave that 1. That's 47 up here. So now that's 47 represented in blue. Now we're going to take away 32. So this blue one that we shaded, that's going to be our first one. So we need 32. 1, 2. So there's 2 out of the 32. Okay. Now I can just do 30 because I just did my 2. 1, 2. What's left is 30 hundredths. I know that 10 hundredths are in one row, so I can shade in or cross out 3 of the hundredths. There's hundredths, 100th, 200ths. Tenths. So here we've got 32 hundredths. We've got our 2, 1, 2. Each of these is 10 tenths. Each column is 10 tenths. So 10 tenths, 20 tenths, 30 tenths. So we've got 32 hundredths, right, in green. So now what do we have left that's not crossed off? Well, all we have left is this column, this column, this column, this column, this one, this one, this one, and this one. These two are crossed off at the end from the 32 hundredths. They're shaded over with green. So what are we left over? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hundredths. Or I'm sorry, 8 tenths. And in each of these are 10 small squares, which would be 80 hundredths. 80 hundredths. And I can write that by putting a 0 before my decimal. You don't have to have that 0 before the decimal. You can just have your decimal and then 80. I have 80 small boxes left over. 80 small squares, which are 80 hundredths. So 1 and 59 hundredths minus 47 hundredths minus 32 hundredths is equal to 80 hundredths. We could also call this 8 tenths. You really don't need this 0 and you don't need this 0. And the number you have left over is 8 tenths. And that's because each of these columns is a tenth. Each column is a tenth and each column has 10 100ths in them. So that's how you have 80 hundredths. Okay, so your task is to finish, finish page 1, finish page 2. Make sure that you go through the lesson and look at the examples. Take notes on the examples. Make sure that you use the problems I've gone over as a model. You can use them on your own worksheets. And make sure, in order to get full credit, you show your work using the models and that you pay attention to the problems that are addition and subtraction. When you are done, you're going to go back to Buzz. You're going to go to the next activity tab here in the top left-hand corner. And you are going to, on your screen, you're going to hit the blue plus button and you're going to attach your work for both worksheets. Make sure you submit both worksheets in order to get full credit. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out.